the Senate Minority Leader announcing in front of the Senate yesterday that he will vote for a Republican-led continuing resolution rather than head for a shutdown.
So joining us more on this is Republican strategist and chairman of the Fort Bend County Republican Party and host of the 13-minute news hour, Bobby Eberle. So, Bobby, I mean, Schumer clearly blinked here. What changed from a couple of days ago when he was saying that Republicans don't have the vote to now him caving and helping pass the bill?
Yeah, see, this is the problem, is that we needed some Democrats, right? That the Republicans just don't have the numbers. But it's easy to talk, and it's much harder to deliver when you see the fact that interest rates are down, mortgage rates are down, inflation is down, egg prices and gas prices are down, border crossings are essentially zero, and manufacturing jobs are up. So this is what Schumer and the Democrats are facing. It's that the momentum is with Trump. What do we do? Do we shut the government down to be that opposition and face the heat? And he just couldn't do it. He surrendered because all of the people, what Trump is delivering is what the American people want. And the Democrats had no leverage here. They're just going to try and live to fight another day.
And before Schumer surrendered, essentially, President Trump spoke about the potential shutdown yesterday. Here's what he had to say.
Do a shutdown, and ultimately that might lead to very, very high taxes, because we're talking about a shutdown. We're talking about getting to work immediately on the greatest tax bill ever passed. If there's a shutdown, it's only because of the Democrats, and they would really be taking away a lot from our country and from the people of our country.
I think that they listened. You know, was it the fear of being labeled as a Democrat shutdown ultimately leading to the change here, do you think?
I think so. I mean, the blame is always on those people that are, you know, use that as their last resort. You know, it happened to the Republicans as well. We've been through these shutdowns, and we can survive. We can come out the other end. But the Democrats, again, have no leverage. And I think they thought this talking point, you know, it's like, hey, let's label Trump a dictator. We've done it throughout the election. And now if the government shuts down, he's going to take even more power. That's kind of their cop-out. That was their exit strategy, that they could still keep that talking point, but surrender on all the major issues, and we get the CR. My hope, though, is that this is, I mean, truly, it takes us to the end of the fiscal year. So FY26, we need to have a budget. We need to implement what DOJ is finding and put actual appropriations bills out there. I think that's what conservatives are demanding and should expect coming up in September.
Yeah, Bobby, you heard us mention it a couple times here already this morning, that headline from Politico. We check it out. Schumer's shutdown surrender sends the left into a rage. Now, there are also stories out this morning about how mad House Democrats are at Chuck Schumer, because they went out on a limb and voted against it. Now it's going to pass. And some folks like AOC may be considering running against the Senate Democrat leader in a primary next year. I mean, this seems like he's completely misplayed this thing.
Well, exactly. And so, right, the Republicans, you know, the stories that were coming out with the news is, can Johnson hold the caucus together? Can he hold the conference together? Well, he did. I mean, Massey was the lone vote, but even one Democrat, I believe, came over and voted for the CR. But en masse, the House Democrats are on one side and the Senate Democrats are on the other. And it just paints that continuing picture that we've seen since November of the Democrats in disarray. They are being led by this vocal, radical minority, and Chuck Schumer and these others, they don't know what to do. So in this surrender, they are taking massive heat, and that only fuels the Republican narrative of delivering. And it shows why the Democrats are polling at about, what, 21% in popularity. It's because they can't get the job done.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure if that was a primary who I'd be happier to get rid of, AOC or Schumer. Either way, one of them would be gone.
Yeah,
exactly.
Only time will tell, but I don't look forward to that race at all. So from chaos on Capitol Hill to real chaos in New York City. I don't know if you saw this, Bobby, but it was completely nuts yesterday outside Trump Tower. Nearly 100 people arrested. They were all gathering to denounce ICE's detainment of Mahmoud Khalil. Of course, we know that's the Columbia student who organized that anti-Semitic protest on campus, multiple anti-Semitic protests over the past year and a half. What do you make of what we're seeing play out here?
Well, one thing, it's funny, let's go back to bring it to the politics side of it, is that this is what the left decides to focus on, because everything else that I listed at the beginning is going our way. We are delivering for the American people. So let's find something to complain about. Now, this issue with the Columbia protests and Mahmoud Khalid, I have a mixed reaction, let me say, because I believe anyone here as a guest, we have the right to kick those guests out if they are supporting terrorist organizations. We have every right to do that. Where I think it's a slippery slope is to paint one group ahead of the other with special privileges, and because that diminishes other groups. So if people are, denouncing Israel and they're American citizens, they have a right to do that. If it takes it too far, there's already laws on the books. You can't target certain groups, Black, Hispanics, women, Jews. There's laws there. So to paint a certain group higher than another, as far as cracking down on certain rhetoric, I think is very, very dangerous. But as far as foreign students, you have to comply with America. You can't support America's enemies. We have every right to kick them out.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely. This will probably go to the courts, I think, a higher court, probably the Supreme Court.
Absolutely,
No, absolutely.
yes.
And I do think, to your point, Bobby, this is really part of a larger way. How are the Democrats going to be portrayed? When you look at them, whether it's obviously the support of these kinds of protesters, we saw what happened during Black Lives Matter. We see what happens when they're out there, ranting and screaming and trying to defend.
And they all have masks on. Do you notice this?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, they all have masks on because they're covering who they are. They don't want people to know who they are, which I think that speaks volumes.
So that wasn't COVID?
No.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of it. It's 2025,
It's so cowardly, and this goes again to what is in line with the American public. And if these people are truly supporting Hamas, a terrorist organization that not only wants to wipe out Jews in Israel, but wants to wipe out America, they chant death to America. If the left comes out, the Democrats come out on that side, I mean, that's just one more item in this list where they are on one side and 80% of the American public are on the other, and it just helps us. I mean, I really fear for them in their current situation going into the midterms. I mean, that's thinking ahead, but they have nothing to run on, and what they do decide to, those hills to die on, are something polar opposite of the American public.
Yeah, why would you die on that hill? Good point.
Exactly.
The wrong
It
battles.
makes no sense, Charlotte.
All right, Bobby, we'll see you again in our next half hour.
Okay, we'll see it.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.